On July 26th, heavy rainfall began over Miyun district in northeastern Beijing, intensifying overnight and continuing into the following day. At 9 a.m. on July 27th, the Beijing Hydrological Station issued a red flood warning for the Miyun River Basin, the highest alert level in the system. At 3 p.m., the spillway gates of the Miyun Reservoir, Beijing's main water source and flood control structure, were opened simultaneously to prevent structural failure due to a sharp rise in water levels. This triggered a massive release of water into the downstream river system. 9 other reservoirs in Beijing also coordinated emergency discharges, causing a sudden rise in river levels and flooding of multiple villages and cities across Beijing, Hebei, and Tianjin. Authorities closed 352 mountain flood channels to contain water flows, which in turn left several areas completely inundated. Within hours, villages such as Lulamikin and Huairou district were buried in over a meter of mud, and vehicles were swept away by the current. In Taiping's Township, 500 people were urgently evacuated overnight. In Mujiayu, 140 households totaling 246 people were relocated from high-risk areas. Authorities established 9 traffic checkpoints to prohibit access to affected zones. Simultaneously, in neighboring Shanxi province, a van carrying farm workers was swept away by a sudden current in Tianjin County. The incident left 14 people missing and 1 confirmed dead by the afternoon of July 27th. The search continued with the deployment of 700 rescuers, 2 helicopters, 8 drones, and 6 boats. On the morning of July 28th, Miyun district continued to experience heavy rainfall. Accumulated precipitation had already exceeded 300 millimeters in several areas, particularly along the Chao, Bai, and Chao Bai river basins. That same day, Taishitun, a town located downstream of the reservoir, was completely flooded. Videos posted on social media showed water covering homes on Yangon Street, with cars floating or being dragged by strong currents. The rains also caused power outages and communication failures in multiple parts of Miyun. In the town of Sawanzi, 100 people were relocated to a school after losing their homes. Authorities deployed drones, specialized vehicles, and rescue teams to reach isolated areas. The Miyun Reservoir recorded an inflow of 6,550 cubic meters per second, the highest since records began in 1951. In Pinggu district, southeast of Beijing, over 300 millimeters of rainfall was recorded in just 12 hours, causing rivers to overflow and flooding several villages. Authorities closed mountain roads and issued warnings for residents to stay away from riverbanks. In Huairou district, floodwaters forced residents to seek refuge on the rooftops of their homes. Local officials opened temporary shelters in schools and community centers. In a Taishitun nursing home, 48 elderly individuals were rescued using inflatable rafts after becoming trapped by the floodwaters. In Hebei province, Chengde County experienced severe flooding, with residents tying themselves to trees to avoid being swept away. In the city of Huairou, streets turned into rivers, submerging stores and apartment complexes and prompting the closure of major routes. In E County, over 450 millimeters of rain triggered evacuations in multiple mountain villages due to the risk of landslides. In Luanping, a rain-induced landslide resulted in 4 deaths and 8 people reported missing. In Baoding, at least 2 fatalities were confirmed due to the flooding, with more individuals unaccounted for. The rainfall persisted on July 28th, and meteorologists warned that up to 300 millimeters more could fall within the next 6 hours. The Ministry of Water Resources confirmed that 41 rivers had overflowed and issued alerts for 11 provinces. The continuous rain caused the collapse of roads, the fall of bridges, and deterioration of drainage infrastructure. In some parts of Miyun, basic services such as electricity and telecommunications remained non-operational. Authorities declared a Level 1 flood emergency alert, the highest on the emergency response scale. The Ministry of Finance allocated 50 million yuan in emergency funds for affected regions. In Jialingzi Township, residents reported complete loss of homes and belongings. In several villages in Miyun and Pinggu, rescuers used drones to locate stranded individuals. The National Meteorological System maintained a red rain alert and warned of the potential for additional secondary disasters. The situation also impacted Shanxi province, where the search for missing persons continued. The region remained in critical condition, with ongoing rainfall and high risk of new landslides and floods. Images of submerged homes, floating cars, and residents being rescued in rafts circulated widely on Chinese social media. Hydrological monitoring centers operated continuously, sharing real-time data. By the end of July 28th, more than 4,400 people have been evacuated from Miyun district alone, with thousands more in neighboring provinces. Authorities continued urging the public to stay away from rivers and mountainous areas and to follow evacuation instructions. Emergency response operations were ongoing, including rescue missions, supply distribution, and repair of critical infrastructure. Officials indicated that if rainfall continued, the risk of further destructive events would remain high. Overall, the situation in northern China remained unstable, with adverse weather conditions still developing and a recovery process expected to take several weeks.